used to make a living. Now, this lady, as all of us, while one day in the forest collecting the woods, cutting the different branches of the tree to make the bundle of our wood, we all of us have greed in our mind. We want more, we want to earn more. Everybody has that. So she too, out of greed, she made a very big bundle of firewood. It was too big. Now, she has made the bundle. Now she cannot lift it up to her head. She is alone in the forest. She tried and tried, and she couldn't. Either the bundle would fall down because of its heaviness, or she herself would fall down because she was old and weak. She couldn't lift that up to her head. Finally, when all her efforts went in vain, she got very angry and she made a loud remark. What is that? What kind of a life is this? Should not Yamaraj come and take me away? Then immediately, to her surprise, Yamaraj appeared in a flash, stood by her side, sitting on the buffalo or his mount. Then seeing that terrible figure of Yamaraj, she was taken aback. Now, Yamaraj very politely, very nicely asked, "Mother, did you call me?" Because she told Yamaraj should come away and take me away. So Yamaraj very politely asked her, "Mother, did you call me?" No, Yamaraj, I didn't call you. No, just now I heard that you were calling Yamaraj. No, I was cutting this firewood to sell, and it was too heavy. I couldn't lift it. I thought if Yamaraj could come and help me to lift that to my head, it would have been very useful. Is it? Okay. So the Yamaraj came and lifted that bundle on her head and went away. So our rant, our greed, our calling of God, our prayer to God are all like this. We pray something, but we mean something. That's why God doesn't answer our prayers. All our actions, all our prayers are like this. So now, I remember two verses. One verse from Bhagavad Gita and another verse from Viveka Chudamani, written by Shankaracharya. And this one is Bhagavad Gita, you all know. It is our very important Hindu scripture, given that message given by none other than great Lord Sri Krishna. Now, let me take you through the verse from the Bhagavad Gita. It is the 22nd verse from the 9th chapter. Ananyaha chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananya. Anya means separate. Ananya means no separation. One with God. So when you are one with God, so you just imagine, what is that? You should be one with God. That is Ananya. If you start thinking of God in that format, in that fashion, that is called Ananyaha. Chintayantaha. Thinking of me, remembering me, me, those people, those devotees, janaha, persons, paryupasate, worship me exclusively. Worshipping is serving him. Paryupasate, thinking of him, whatever kind of worship. Tesham, of them, nityabhi yuktanam, who are always absorbed in me. Yoga, supply of spiritual assets, kshemam, protecting spiritual assets or whatever assets. Vahamyaham. I not only take care, Vahami means I will carry, take the load, take the burden of such people on myself. There are those who always think of me, tells Lord Krishna to Arjuna, and engage in exclusive devotion to me. To them whose minds are always absorbed in me, Ananyaha Chintayanto Mam, I not only take care of their yoga, their kshema also. I provide what they lack and preserve what they already possess. Now, explaining this verse, we can see, give the example of a mother and a child. A mother never thinks of deserting her newborn, helpless child who is entirely dependent upon her. Like that, the devotee who is entirely surrendered to God, the supreme and the eternal mother of the soul, that is God. When we behave like that, when we are completely dependent, then God offers motherly assurance to souls who surrender exclusive to Him. The words used are Vahami Aham, meaning I personally carry the burden of maintaining my devotees. Can you imagine? Lord Krishna is promising, I'll personally not just look after, carry the burden. Vahami means carry. I personally carry the burden of maintaining my devotees. See, these are all not false words, but these are all the words of the Lord Himself. So it cannot be untrue. Just as a married man in olden days, I don't know nowadays, just like a married man in olden days, he carries the burden of maintaining his wife and children. Nowadays, I have seen some of the husbands telling, oh, you have to work. If you don't work and earn, you get out of my house. You should not stay here. I am earning. So what kind of attitudes have been brought out of them? Recently, I asked one of the mother to get the 7 steps of the promises you make during the marriages, so that I wanted to make her read again those verses. That's why I asked her. Because some people come and tell, we want to get divorced, that and these. Then I ask, what are the promises you made during marriage? Go through that again, refresh them. So here, at that time, the husband has to promise. What is that? A married man carries the burden of maintaining his wife and children. So, God is our eternal Father and Mother. He promises 2 things here. Lord Krishna is promising us 2 things. The first is yoga. Yoga means, we always think of yoga means doing some exercises. That is one of the yoga, that is Hatha Yoga. But in the real sense, yoga is, He bestows His devotees the spiritual assets that they do not possess, even worldly assets too. Not only spiritual, but also worldly. The second is kshemam. He protects the spiritual assets that his devotees already possesses. That which do not possess, worldly or spiritual, He will provide us. That which we already possess it, He will protect it and take care of us. That is the meaning of this verse. However, the condition He has placed. So there is one factor. The condition. What is that? The condition He has placed for this exclusive taking care of His children, that is we, is surrender. Ananyaha chintayanto mam. Nothing else. It's not costly. He wants your devotion, your surrender. That's all, nothing else. This can again be understood through the same analogy of the mother and the child. A newborn baby is fully dependent upon its mother, who takes care of the baby's welfare entirely. The baby simply cries whenever it needs anything. The mother cleans it when it's excretes or urinates or dirties, she changes the nappies, she cleans it, she feeds it, she bathes it, etc. When the baby becomes a 5-year-old child, it begins doing some actions for itself. To that extent, the mother reduces her responsibility. And when the same child becomes a youth and assumes all responsibility, the mother relinquishes her responsibility further. Now, if the father comes home and asks, "Where's your son?" the mother replies, "He has not returned home after school. He might have gone to a movie, or maybe he has gone to a restaurant or a hotel, or he might have gone to play." Our attitude is now more neutral towards him. But when the same child was 5-year-old, or even lesser than that, now if he had gotten delayed by 5 minutes or 10 minutes in returning home from the school, both the mother and father would begin worrying. What has happened to our child? He's a small child. Let's hope he has not met with an accident. Let us phone the school, find out. In this way, as the boy keeps, or the child keeps assuming more responsibility, becoming more aware of his ego, doing his own work, thinking of his own facilities. As the boy keeps assuming responsibility, his mother keeps relinquishing her responsibility. God's law is the same. When we act from our independent will, thinking that we are the doers of our actions and depend upon our own prowess and abilities, now God will slowly go back and become a witness. He merely notes our karmas, our actions. He just notes and gives the result accordingly, whether good or bad karma. When we surrender partially to Him and partially depend upon material crutches, God also partially bestows His care for us. And when we offer ourselves exclusively to Him, surrender at His feet, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, God bestows His complete responsibility, grace, and takes full responsibility by preserving what we have and providing what we lack. This is one verse. Now you heard and understood. Another verse, as I told you, from Vivek Chudamani, written by Shankaracharya, that is about perseverance, forbearance. What is that word used there? Titiksha. It's called titiksha, forbearance. Sahanam sarvadukkanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam sa titiksha nigadyate. What is titiksha? Shankaracharya tells, Sahanam, to withstand, to forbear. Sarvadukkanam, all the difficulties, all the challenges in our life. How? Apratikara purvakam. What is apratikara? Pratikara is revengeful. Wait, let me get the opportunity. I'm going to teach that fellow who has done this to me. Pratikara. Always waiting for opportunity to destroy that person who has caused something to me. But here, Shankaracharya is telling, apratikara purvakam. So when will you do? When you take everything as the will of the Lord, you think that everything has happened due to the will of the Lord, so there will be no pratikara, there will be no revengeful attitude. Then, chinta, vilapa. What is chinta? Internal worrying. What has happened? This should have not happened. Going on worrying and worrying and worrying. Punishing yourself again, worrying. Then, vilapa rahitam. What is vilapa? Now, this is internal worrying is chinta. Externally, you go on fretting and fuming and criticizing and telling everybody whom you meet, that fellow this did to me. God didn't find anybody to give this difficulty. Why should He give this difficulty only to me? So you go on doing vilapa. That is vilapa. Chinta is worrying within. Vilapa, externally you are making all the rants and outside outbursts. So chinta, vilapa, rahitam. Sa titiksha nigadyate. That is titiksha. That is forbearance. Outwardly, you might keep quiet. Internally, you'll be burning. That is not titiksha, that is not forbearance. Now, with these two verses, let us see, because we always, when we hear some figure of speech, some qualities, then it's very good, you feel happy. But until somebody practices it, you can't get an example. It will not inspire you much. So, let us take the life of one beautiful saint who was a woman. Her name was Janabai. She lived in Maharashtra, central India, near, the famous temple of Lord Krishna is called by the name in Maharashtra as Vithala. Vithala, you do Vithala bhajans. Gujarat also, Vithala is popular. In Karnataka also, he is popular. In Tamil Nadu also, he is popular. Andhra to some extent. And in Maharashtra. His temple is in Maharashtra. But they tell the person who established Lord Krishna in the form of Vithala was from Karnataka. So the Maharashtra saints write the song as Kannadu Vithala. That is Kannada Vithala from Karnataka, whatever that might be. Now this lady, Janabai, was an ardent devotee of Lord Krishna, that is in the form of Vithala. And she was also gifted with poetic talent. She composed many divine religious verses, that is Abhanga. In Maharashtra or Marathi, they call it as Abhanga. So, her sentimental poetry is replete with her love for the God, devotion for the God, compassionate Lord, because she was always thinking of Vithala. She was always doing every work as offering to Vithala, completely surrendered to Lord Krishna. Because of that, the compassionate Lord used to help her, took all her responsibilities. Promised, Krishna has promised, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nitya vyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. I'm going to take over all their responsibility. Now she is so much ardent devotee and always thinking of the Lord. She has taken up all her responsibility. Like compassionate Lord Krishna or Vithala used to help her in her daily domestic chores. She's grinding the atta maybe or dosa thing. He will come and help her. Give a hand. Lord Krishna, baby Krishna, he will come. Small boy Krishna. She's cutting wood. Krishna will come and help her. Picking flowers, she will bend. The Krishna will bend everything and go always with her, helping her in the house chores, domestic chores. And he was also singing for her. Lullaby. When she used to sleep, he used to sing. Or to make her happy, Krishna used to sing for her. Can you imagine? Singing for her. Not only that, problem not only in South Africa, you never had problem of water. Now, all the time, you have water problem. Now you have to get water from the tanker, and some mother had posted this thing because of the bad water supply in the tanker. We have got pink eyes and all the other problems are there. So much of water problem everywhere. Now, in those days in India and many places in village, they have to go to far off lakes and rivers and wells and fetch water and store it in the house. So no tap water, just open this thing, it comes. No. Now Krishna was bringing water for her from the river or the lakes to help her. Can you imagine how Lord is taking care of her devotee, taking care of his devotee? He fetched water for her and did many things for her. One day he was doing all the work, Lord Vithala, because he has done a lot of work for her, his devotee. He felt very tired. Seeing that position, Janabai, she made the bed in the room nicely, made the bed, put the blanket, made him sleep in her house. Lord Krishna, the boy Krishna, slept in her house. Now, in the morning, he has to go stand in the temple and look after his devotees like a king. But now it was late. Just like we will be late to the prayer or we'll be late to the something, then we run. What do? We rush. because we are late now. Lord Krishna also slept a little more and we woke up late. Now he has to go to the temple. What did he do? Now he can't walk back to temple. He has to run. What did he do? He also, because he was putting that blanket given by Janabai, her own blanket was given, so he was covering that. He also carried that blanket and ran to the temple with that blanket. While he was getting up and running, rushing, blanket around his body, in the process, some of his very costly ornaments fell in the house of Janabai. Fell from his neck, the necklace, the diamond necklace, and fell on the floor of Janabai's house. Now, in the morning, the priests opened the door of the sanctum and saw that the statue of Lord Vittala, there was no necklace, the costly necklace. The priests, then they saw that one blanket is lying nearby in the sanctum. Where did this blanket come from? Then the priest complained to the police. In those days, the police were different. The Raja and the king and other things, they came to the minister. They came to the conclusion that somebody might have stolen the ornaments of the Lord. They also saw the blanket nearby in the precincts and assumed that it must belong to the thief. They started questioning everyone to find out whom the blanket belonged. Now, Janabai, innocent lady, she told them that blanket belonged to her. Then priests, they got angry with the ministers and the police. They came to her house and searched in the house and found that costly necklace in her room. Then they accused her of the theft. But she told that the Lord came and he was tired and he was sleeping in that room where she had made the bed. Will anybody believe? They started laughing at her, laughed at her, thinking that she's a liar. Then they start beating her. They dragged her to the panchayat. In those days, the court and other things, high court, Supreme Court was not there. There would be village court. Panchayat, it was called, the village court. All the village people gathered there at the panchayat. They declared her to be guilty of theft of the Lord's ornament. Hence, the capital punishment was given. Decided to give her death sentence. How dare she steals from the... Okay, the thief can steal here and there. We can understand from the temple of the Lord. So capital punishment, death sentence by putting her. What was the death sentence? How was that? By putting her on a pointed iron pole. It's called shula. In a public place, sharp, long iron pole, sharp. So the body will be put from that. As they leave it, it goes down like this into that pole. It was called shula, which was the method of execution. If one had committed a grave blunder, heinous act, she was taken in a procession to the place of execution and was cruelly beaten along the route. The beatings from the policemen, the executioners, inflicted deep wounds on her body, and she was consequently bleeding profusely. However, she remained calm and smiling, continuously repeating the divine name of her Lord, never complaining, never crying, calm and smiling, continuously repeating the divine name. As she passed the temple, when she was paraded and was taken in front of that famous Pandharpur Vittala temple, even now the temple is there, famous, I had visited that. She now asked for her last wish before killing me, if she could have the last darshan of my Ishtadevata, the Lord. Then they took her. Janabai reached the door of the temple with great difficulty because now she is wounded, bleeding and tired. But finding the door locked and the key missing, she began to cry now. Because not of the pain, but she couldn't have the vision of her Lord, see the Lord for the last time. Now she started crying. Now she began to sing a song, beseeching the Lord for bestowal of mercy on her. Suddenly the whole temple started shaking, and there was a thunderous sound with which the iron shackles of the door were broken, and it flung open. Lord Vittala was standing on the pedestal smiling. Janabai continued singing and pouring out her heart in glorious expression. Then she took leave of Lord Vithala and walked towards the river Chandrabhaga, where the execution was to take place. She was followed by thousands of devotees of Vithala and the villagers, and as she approached that iron pole, sharp pole where she will be executed or put upon that, and the sharp edge will go into the stomach or the body, and she will die bleeding. That's called Shula. She approached that iron pole, gazing at it and singing the Lord's eulogy. That was what? Only surrender, nothing else. She started praising the Lord. The pole melted and flowed into the river because of her devotion. Now, the devotee, seeing this miracle, began rejoicing. God has saved his devotee and showing her greatness to all, shown her greatness to all. Those who had condemned her were shocked and realized their horrible mistake. To atone for their mistake, they collected cloths, ornaments, and garlands and presented them to her. To experience this divine cosmic vision and universal awareness, saints, devotees have undergone many difficult tests in their life, but have emerged victorious through the grace of God. So, as I told you, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate, the Lord will take care. Many devotees such thing. He used to do the house chore and do all the work, menial work for his devotees. The Lord has done it. In the Gospel, Ramakrishna tells, the Lord tells in Bhagavata, I will give mukti, liberation quickly, moksha, everything, but I will not give Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion. Why? If a person becomes a pure devotee, I have to become his slave. I'll become his slave. I have to look after him. So I may give him liberation, whatever he asks, money, everything. But I will not give him Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion, because I have to become his slave. So if you develop, it's in your hand. If you develop that pure devotion to the Lord, surrender completely, the Lord will become your slave. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam. Forbear all the difficulties. Depend upon the Lord. Surrender to Him and you can have that miracles. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.